New Mexico has been at the cutting edge of filmmaking since the silent movie days of Tom Mix. We've created and inspired New Mexicans to get into the industry. Now, one New Mexico filmmaker's inspiration has led her to war-torn Ukraine. She wants to find the stories beyond the headlines. As part of our series, New Mexico Frontiers, Chad Brummett spoke with a New Mexico filmmaker who has made it her mission to break borders and build bridges with filmmakers documenting Ukrainians defending their front lines.
On February 24, 2022, Russia invaded the neighboring country of Ukraine. The unprovoked aggression sparked the bloodiest conflict and largest humanitarian crisis in Europe since World War II. Sadly, it's not the first time the superpower has waged war on the former Soviet Republic.
Russia has been committing acts of genocide in Ukraine for a long time.
As the Soviet Union crumbled, Ukraine passed its Declaration of Independence in August of 1991. As the years progressed, so too did Ukraine's alliance with Western nations and members of NATO. President Vladimir Putin saw this as an act of aggression toward Russia, threatening Western countries with retaliation if they encroach too much in Ukraine.
The citizens of Crimea have overwhelmingly voted to rejoin Russia.
In 2014, Russia covertly invaded and annexed Crimea, a move they justified as a rescue operation for Russian nationals living in the southeastern parts of Ukraine. And less than 10 years later, Putin launched his full-scale attack that continues to this day.
When the full-scale invasion happened, I felt compelled to help, and so I used basically all of my background experience to help in what I'm doing now.
Half a world away, filmmaker and media strategist Genevieve Trainer watched along with millions of other Americans as the brutal invasion took place. As images were fed back to American news outlets of bombed-out buildings and military campaigns, she couldn't help but think of the innocent, anonymous voices of Ukrainians living within the war zone.
We see the bombed-out buildings in the news, but we don't hear the people's stories. We are here at a medical facility.
Trainer, who received her undergrad in communications and journalism from the University of New Mexico, felt she might be able to give a voice to those living through the conflict. So in the fall of 2022, she sold her car, stepped away from her career in film and public relations, and planned her first trip to Eastern Europe. Landing in Warsaw, Poland that September, she convened with filmmakers based in Poland, Ukraine, and colleagues working stateside.
It felt a little bit extreme for my first trip to Ukraine to go to the eastern part of the country that's where most of the action is.
Compelled by her Polish colleague, who coincidentally was friends with the late cinematographer Helena Hutchins, Trainer crossed over the border to Ukraine, making her way east to the occupied Donbas region in the city of KRQE.
And so we spent time in there, in that region, and in Kharkiv. And the way that people, they don't take their days for granted. They wake up, not everybody, of course, but generally speaking, they wake up appreciative of waking up for another day.
As you head further east into the country, the roads deteriorate, destroyed by Russian tanks and bombings. Mixed within the metropolis, which Trainer says is a mecca for higher learning in the country, are bombed-out buildings and reflections of a time when the country wasn't at war. It's within these confines that thousands of Ukrainians make their best effort to live a normal life, and at the same time voluntarily take up arms against their invaders.
It's a civilian war. I believe most of the military members right now fighting were civilians before the full-scale invasion. The people helping on the ground are everyday Ukrainians.
Since December of 2022, Trainer has taken 6 trips to the country, with the 7th planned for the summer. There she meets, she listens, and she relays the daily struggles, triumphs, and tragedies of the nation's population. Among them are people like Yevgeny, a Ukrainian-born basketball enthusiast who is working to provide free camps for kids displaced by the war. Then there's Fuminori Toshiko, a 76-year-old transplant to the country from Japan, arriving just weeks before Russia attacked. He's helped with humanitarian efforts, distributing food, developing a mobile children's library, and establishing a cafe where, according to Trainer, he feeds thousands for free every day. And Trainer herself has sacrificed much to bring the untold stories outside the borders of Ukraine. But one sacrifice in particular made her decision to go difficult, but necessary. What has it meant for you in terms of what you have had to sacrifice or scale back here stateside to make sure that you are serving a purpose and that you are fulfilling the goal you set out for yourself to achieve?
I've sacrificed time with my girls that I won't get back. So that's probably the hardest thing. Sorry. I think that time with my girls that I won't get back has been hard, but I hope that my work there shows them that they can pivot their lives if they feel compelled to do something in their life that they're not currently doing, that they don't have to stay in something that, you know, doesn't make them happy, or, you know, that they can also chase what they want in their life.
The domino effect on global stability cannot be understated, and while more than 5,000 miles separates the U.S. from Ukraine, Trainer stresses that no one is immune from the conflict.
The war is at our doorstep. The war is in the U.S. It's not being fought with missiles, and probably wouldn't be in the U.S., of course, but it is already here. And what the Ukrainians are fighting for is democracy and freedom.
That was Chad Brummett reporting. Trainer has also been working with Ukrainian media overseas as well as here in the States, combating what she calls Russian propaganda. Her producers are currently in post-production on their first episodes of the docu-series.